America, they don't want me talking tonight. They don't want this show on the air, but we're here anyway, aren't we? I'm Gary Franchi, broadcasting live from the front lines of the information war. This isn't just another news show. This is the raw feed, where we strip away the lies and deliver the unfiltered truth they desperately are trying to hide from you. So look at what's happening right now across this nation on day 86 of President Trump's historic return to power. The establishment media wants you focused on celebrity gossip and stage distractions. Meanwhile, the most explosive transformation in American history is unfolding before our very eyes. Nissan is maximizing American production, while Gavin Newsom throws legal tantrums over tariffs. The border has been militarized literally overnight. 110,000 acres now under direct Army control. And Biden's handlers are deploying fear tactics against America's seniors. And the White House just casually mentioned technology that can manipulate time and space. Are you paying attention yet? Because this isn't the future. It's happening right now. Now listen, I need you to be part of this broadcast. Right now, we are streaming across YouTube, Rumble, and X to millions worldwide, but the algorithms are working overtime to suppress what we're showing you. So grab your phone and text this link to 5 people that you care about. That's how we bypass the censors. That's how the truth spreads. Your voice matters here. And throughout the show, we'll be highlighting your super chats and Rumble rants on screen right here. You become part of the broadcast. The power brokers hate this. Real Americans speaking directly to other Americans without their filters. And speaking of power, we do need yours. This show exists because of patriots like you. You keep it alive. While billion-dollar networks protect their regime narrative, we survive on your support. The links to donate are below this video. Even $5 helps us keep exposing what they're hiding. And for those asking about our explosive new merch line, yes, it's here. Limited edition Next News gear has dropped at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Wear your stand for truth proudly. Now, tonight's lineup is nuclear. We are exposing how Newsom is melting down as Trump's tariffs ignite a manufacturing renaissance. We'll show you how the border has transformed overnight from chaos to order. You'll see Biden's desperate propaganda operation against American seniors exposed, and will reveal shocking evidence that New York Attorney General Letitia James, who made destroying Trump her mission, may have been committing mortgage fraud for decades. Then, did the White House just casually admit to possessing technology that can manipulate the fabric of reality? You'll hear it straight from their mouth. We'll be bringing you the heart-wrenching testimony of an angel mom that mainstream networks refuse to air. And finally, we'll show you how Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency just exposed $24 billion missing, missing from Gavin Newsom's California homeless programs. This is not just news. This is the Great Awakening unfolding in real time. I'm Gary Franchi, and this is the Raw Feed, and we are only getting started. Let's welcome you to the show. We got Karen and Deb and Joe and Pothead Kenny. What's up? We got Sure You in the house. The Cactus God is here. We got Ophikus and Rusty Nuts, Deb Noble, Lori B, Lisa Hip, Fred Redman, Overeducated. Remember, when you sound off in the comments section or the chat room, let us know where you're watching from and how you are watching. We got Tom B420. We got Mrs. Pothead Kenny. Oh, wow, the Mrs. is here. We got Lewis in the house. We got Curtis Brown. We got Michael Augustus. We've got Skivvies. Skivvies is here. We've got Dean E. We've got, who else is in the house? We've got Derek, Karen, Easy Chair, Tony and Chris and Nicholas, Mel Girl, Gen X, Tony, Chris Centauro, Nicholas X, Irish Russ, Keeger, Carl, ZB Reddy is here. What's up, man? We've been waiting for you. Alaskan Girl in the house. And Craig is already on fire, dropping 5 Next News Network memberships. What's up, Craig? Thank you for that. Yes, 5 recipients now have access to the behind-the-scenes videos and the Discord chat room, all the things that members have access to. DRM is here. We've got Benjamin, Allen. We've got Jeremy Olson and Scotty and Steven, Alsip, Richard August, James Campbell. The gang is all here. Think at the Brink is here, too, even from Ohio. We got Melb Girl, Cat MC, Skills Computer Rehab. What's up, Ohio? We've got Barbara Ross and James Harley. He's waving his Trump flag over there. We got Gerard Beckham in the house. Elon for governor 2028. Yeah, baby. We got Cynthia. Who else? We got awful workplaces. Did you talk to Caitlin Collins? Yeah, sort of. I mean, when I was there a couple of weeks back, I did have interaction with her, took a selfie, said hello. You know, nothing serious. We got Benjamin Dover. We got Richard. We got Frank. We got Dell. Jackie. Heather Wood. Charles in Arizona desert on his iPad. We got Jason. We got the 8-inch destroyer. Hey, he says. Who else is in the house? We got SLM, Birdie to tweet. Hey, Hannon Hall. Who else? Keep going. Let's keep going. Come on. Mark Gray, Daryl Kuhn, Save My Republic, Circle U Deb, Birdie to tweet, Mark Gray, Daryl, Lisa Hip. Can you tell me why the Democrats are trying so hard to get that Garcia back here and fight so hard for Hamas? Because they hate America. I mean, it's that simple. Come on. It's not rocket science, all right? It's because they hate the country. Angie's in the house. What's up, girl? My girl's here. Oh, everyone say hello to Angie. Angie baby's here. We got Michelle Fiacco, Teresa. Who else is here? We got, what up, Gary? She says, oh, with the little hearts emoji. Oh, that's so cute. You're making me blush. We got Donna Rice, Apache One. 8-inch destroyer has now become an operative. What's up, man? Welcome to the family. We got Sharon. We got Gorian Lady in the house. Diane is here, and Jesse. Who else? Keep going. Let's keep going. Lucky Dog. Heather Reeve. What's up, Heather? We got Karen and Cindy in Buffalo, New York. Brand 47's in the house. Who else? Kelly Durant. Villain is here. W. Wagner. Janice Lohman. We've got James Myers. Sometimes I repeat these things. Who else is here? Carrie in Ohio. What's up, Carrie? Carrie Markham. She's a member as well. Karen Finley saying, hello, Mrs. Franchi. Mrs. Franchi's here. So y'all better be on your best behavior, okay? Overeducated Heather and Deb and Tom. The gang's all here. We've got news to get to, though. I could sit here and do shout-outs all night. But we got some serious news to get into. And, of course, Angie will be here chilling with you guys. So let's get into it because we've got some news. America, something extraordinary is happening to our economy the mainstream media doesn't want you to see. While California's governor races to the courthouse, American factories are witnessing a phenomenon we haven't seen in decades. What if everything you've been told about tariffs was deliberately misleading? What if the experts who predicted economic disaster were serving a different agenda entirely? Well, tonight, we're going to show you numbers that will shock you, revenue figures that will astound you, and corporate decisions that are sending shivers through the globalist boardrooms worldwide. It's not just about policy, it's about the greatest industrial resurrection of our lifetime. And it's only day 86, so stay with us. And as we step into 2025, one thing is clear, de-dollarization is not stopping, it's accelerating. China and other BRICS nations are scared of President Trump, and it's making them more determined to reduce their dependence on the U.S. dollar and establish themselves as global economic superpowers. What's their secret weapon? Well, it's gold. In fact, China resumed buying gold, and you know what's even more telling? They underreport their buys. Does it make you wonder why? They recognize its global value and ability to withstand economic shocks. Well, gold is a global asset with innate value. It's tangible, it's reliable, and immune to economic manipulation. China and other BRICS countries, they want to be prepared. They just don't want it known to you. But this isn't about nations, it's about you. So make sure you head over to nextnewsgold.com or call that number on the screen, 877-646-5347. Tell them Gary Franchi sent you and ask how you can get 10 free silver 1-ounce coins when you invest with no gold. All right. So Gavin Newsom of course, getting ready for his 2028 presidential campaign, has launched a podcast. And it's really just a propaganda campaign, trying to make him seem more relatable to the American people. Yeah. Subscribe now to Gavin Newsom's podcast. No, thank you. But we're going to give you a little snapshot. This is what he posted 7 hours ago. Donald Trump doesn't have the authority to impose these destructive and chaotic tariffs. America stands to lose too much. Oh, look, he's got a Rahm Emanuel, Barack Obama's former chief of staff and the former mayor of Chicago, of the Emanuel family. Anyway, let's take a listen to what Gavin Newsom's propaganda machine is spitting out right now.
Different reasons. California is the biggest manufacturing state in America. People forget that. California is number one in two-way trade, number one in direct foreign investment, and number one manufacturing state in America. 40% of the goods movements in this country come through two ports of entry in California, about 50% of that from China itself. No state has more to lose, more to gain as it relates to ag, as it relates to all of these industries and tech, as you noted, AI, et cetera. So that's, by the way, why we just filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration. And we did it on, I think, very sound grounds. And it's an interesting lawsuit for many different reasons, but we've got to push back much more aggressively on the consequences of this.
Yeah, they uploaded this clip and they didn't even let Rahm Emanuel speak. How funny. That just shows you his vanity right there. But did you hear what he said? California's got a lot to lose. Well, then maybe you should start playing ball with the Trump administration so you don't lose it all, Gavin. Maybe you should just step down, resign in shame, or maybe Elon Musk should run for governor. I think that's a good thing. Check this out. Watcher.guru posting this just 13 hours ago. California's Governor Newsom asked court to block President Trump's illegal tariffs. Oh, no. Here we have more. Gavin Newsom, this is from Libs of TikTok. Gavin Newsom suing the Trump admin over tariffs. He claims the tariffs are unlawful. They're wreaking chaos. Newsom just asked for a $2.8 billion bailout for Medicaid. Did you hear about that? For illegals. And California is facing a homeless crisis. They continue. Meanwhile, this is what he's focusing on and spending tax dollars on. Listen.
Today, I announced a lawsuit on behalf of the state of California suing the Trump administration. California is the largest manufacturing state in our union, one of the largest trading partners around the globe. No state will be impacted more than the state of California as it relates to the unilateral authority that's being asserted by the Trump administration to impose the largest tax increase in modern American history. Today, I announced a lawsuit.
Yeah, good luck with that lawsuit, pal. Let's keep going. Oh, a little flashback moment here. When I was at Mar-a-Lago, Donald Trump reached out and... Yeah, a little moment there, just flashback. Donald Trump shaking my hand at Mar-a-Lago. Just thought I'd throw that in there. And then we've got this. Amid President Donald Trump's tariffs, a manufacturing boom may be coming to the United States as companies discuss moving operations to America. Could also mean a rise in AI factories, which the Trump administration says is a positive. Let's hear how News Nation framed this.
Worker. With all the recent talk of tariffs, the U.S. could be on the brink of a new manufacturing boom. Some companies are now looking to move operations to the U.S., and that could mean more jobs and fewer supply chain disruptions. It could also...
Oh, and what if those jobs went to California, Gavin? What if those manufacturing plants went to California? Are you still complaining about tariffs now, buddy?
mean a surge, though, in AI factories, something Vice President Vance has said could actually help the American worker.
We refuse to view AI as a purely disruptive technology that will inevitably automate away our labor force. We believe, and we will fight for policies that ensure that AI is going to make our workers more productive, and we expect that they will reap the rewards with higher wages, better benefits, and safer and more prosperous communities.
And correspondent Nancy Liu is live for us in Orange, California. So, Nancy, what is the potential future of manufacturing here in the U.S.?
Well, Nicole, it looks like this. This is a robot that's being developed for use.
Oh, and I'm going to point out, yes, she is in California. Gavin, are you watching?
In food production, we can't, for proprietary reasons, say exactly what it's going to eventually do or for what company. But check out this smaller robot. And I'm told that this is a good starter machine for smaller companies. It costs about $100,000, and it can do, menial tasks like gluing, perhaps, say, a smartphone or something like that. And AI-driven automation, it's already transforming multiple industries, especially here in California, the nation's top manufacturing state. Dynam C Robotics is among a host of custom machine building companies helping other American companies to shift production. For now, the reshoring movement, it is limited as many businesses assess whether to make major investments on machinery like this. Modern robotics can be customized to automate all kinds of manufacturing, from guitars to furniture and much more. And the shift clearly curtails the need for manual, unskilled labor. America's new manufacturing push is set to highlight more technology and automation, and it means an ongoing labor shift.
I hope you're listening, Gavin Newsom. Okay, let's keep going. Just in the United States has generated a total of what? 21, is that trillion? 21 billion in tariff revenue since Trump's inauguration. Holy cow. We also have this from Ian Yeager. Nissan seeks to max out production in the United States following President Trump's tariffs. The wins keep coming. President Trump also has been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. If you're down for that, drop a thumbs up below. We also have this from the Education Secretary just a few hours ago, making sure that we're working, that this is being done carefully. Listen.
It's very clear.
Do you have a date that you want to have this department closed by?
We don't have a specific date. We are working to make sure, this is being done very carefully. While the president's directive is very clear to close down the department, he wants to make sure that all the protections are in place, that those, the policies that are there are going to continue to be protected. So we're doing it very carefully.
Yes, the Department of Education is still on its way out. That's some great news to report for you. Here we have this. The Department of Justice will fight for women if the state of Maine will not. Boys should not break records in women's sports. Boys should not deny scholarship opportunities to dedicated female athletes. Boys should not be in the girls' locker room. Here's Pam Bondi on Fox. Here is Pam Bondi on Fox.
These are boys in a girl's locker room. One is too many. It's ridiculous what she said, and doesn't just affect one young woman. It affects the entire team, the entire sport within that school. These young women are not being able to compete because of a boy. The boy in 2024 came in 43rd in his category in track and field. Yet, when he competed in the women's sport, he won. Governor Mills shouldn't have said that, shouldn't have done this, should be supporting women in the state of Maine, and we're going to fight for them if they're not.
Okay. And they still can't define what a woman is, except the UK Supreme Court just figured it out. Let's keep going. We've got some more here. CNN MAGA movement nearly doubles in size. Mario Naval posting this just a few hours ago. CNN's Abby Phillip dropped a stunning revelation that MAGA support has exploded from 20% to 36% in just 15 months, signaling dramatic polarization as Americans flock to political movements with fire and energy. Check this out.
Right, more at NBC News. There's a growing number of voters who are identifying with the MAGA movement. From January 2024, it was 20%. March 2025, it is 36%. So we're actually seeing the country kind of moving in these opposite directions. Lots of fire and energy on the left, but on the right, more and more Americans are comfortable saying, I'm MAGA.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think a lot of people, a lot of Republicans used to think of themselves as just, average Republicans, and they've really come to respect and appreciate what Donald Trump is doing. I think the immigration issue alone is causing a lot of people to feel closer to Donald Trump than maybe they ever felt before. So I'm not surprised by that finding. I referenced it earlier, but there's also other polling. Very young people, 18 to 21, are feeling more conservative, even as 21 to 24 are feeling less. There was a bit of a split in that generation, but you can see people flowing in different ways here, and it's quite interesting. I actually think the common thread among it all is if you perceive authenticity out of a politician, you tend to gravitate towards them. That's why Trump is popular. I think it's why AOC is popular too. She doesn't appear to be a scripted puppet, neither does Trump, and you can see the crowds they draw.
All right, everyone.
Let's keep going here because the MAGA movement is growing at an exponential rate. Here we have Rapid Response 47 just 24 hours ago. The president explains where he gets his energy.
I've always said energy is genetics. I had two great parents. They had a long-term marriage, a very, very long-term marriage. I'll never beat them at that. So one thing, I'll never beat them. We don't have enough years left. But they had a great relationship, but they had great energy. And my father died at just about almost 94, and he was a very strong guy. And my mother, likewise, she was a wonderful woman, but she lived a very long life, and she had a tremendous sense of energy, and she had energy inside and out. I mean, she was the life of the party, and I think that's where it comes from. I think that's where it comes from generally. I could say probably the same for you.
Yeah, genetics.
I think genetics is a big answer. Even, when people have a friend, his mother died at 49 from a heart attack, and his father died at 50, and he's 60, and he's walking around saying, I'm not supposed to be here. But, and he's not a particularly nice person, so I say, maybe you're right about that. But no, genetics, a big factor is genetics. Yeah.
So what do we have here? The evidence undeniable. The tariffs are transforming America's industrial landscape in real time, while critics claim disaster. But the numbers tell a different story. Manufacturing jobs returning, revenue pouring in, AI factories sprouting across the Midwest, automotive giants expanding domestic operations. This is exactly what America first promised. Not isolation, but strategic leverage. Using our economic power to rebuild what globalization dismantled, the American industrial base. And remember, this is just day 86 of the Trump administration. The full impact of these policies is just beginning to materialize. So here is the question that divides America right now, and I want you to weigh in. If tariffs can jumpstart manufacturing this dramatically in just 3 months, why did we wait so long to implement them? And what other economic truths have we been sold that simply aren't true? Drop a comment below. Grab your exclusive Next News merch in the merch shop. It's linked down below at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. What are you waiting for? All right, welcome back. It is between segments now, checking super chats. Holy cow, what's up here? Okay, so we've got Sean, who has become a member. What's up, Sean? Welcome to the family. 8-inch Destroyer has also become a member. Thank you for joining. Bobby Younce has received a membership as well. And Villain dropping $5 saying, shout out to Next News Network, the moderators, members, and subscribers. Big heart, N3 family. Like, share, subscribe, and spread the truth they won't tell you. Thank you for that. And Gene dropping $10 almost and saying, Abrego Garcia is George Floyd 2.0. Yeah, ain't that something? Let's continue with our news of the day. Speaking of Abrego Garcia, yeah, we've got some news on that front right now. Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that one of the most secure borders in American history emerged virtually overnight? What if the impossible crisis we've been told couldn't be fixed suddenly was? For years, we've heard endless excuses. The system is broken. We need comprehensive immigration reform. There's nothing we can do, right? Well, tonight, we're going to reveal what happened when those excuses were stripped away. when Border Patrol agents were given a simple directive that changed everything. The transformation's been so dramatic that even mainstream reporters are struggling to explain it. Quote, almost overnight, they're saying, with shock in their voices. The truth will leave you asking one haunting question. Now, while we're watching our border finally being secured, many Americans are looking for ways to secure their financial future too. And that's where PatriotSwitchNNN.com comes in. This American-made brand isn't just about great products. They've created a legitimate work-from-home opportunity that's helping patriots across the country break free from corporate America. No commute, no boss breathing down your neck, just an honest way to support your family while promoting products made right here in the USA. Now, they're hosting a Zoom call, an exclusive one, that explains exactly how it works and how much you can earn. Register now at PatriotSwitchNNN.com while the spaces still remain. You'll find it linked in our description. Now, we've got this, okay? Senator Chris Van Hollen decided to fly all the way to El Salvador to demand the release of a deported MS-13 terrorist and couldn't even get him on the phone. An absolute failure. That's what Benny Johnson says. And if you think about it, we just had the president of El Salvador in the Oval Office earlier this week. Maybe it's all by design. You send a Democrat senator down there to try to solve this problem, but President Trump's already checkmated him by saying, don't deal with this scumbag. So he held a press conference, impromptu. We've got some clips from it here. Take a listen.
This is an unsustainable and unjust moment, so it cannot continue this way. I also told his wife and family that I would try to meet with Mr. Abrego Garcia while I was here. So I asked the vice president if I could meet with Mr. Abrego Garcia. And he said, well, you need to make earlier provisions to go visit CCOT. I said, I'm not interested at this moment in taking a tour of CCOT. I just want to meet with Mr. Abrego Garcia.
Why?
He said he was not able to make that happen.
So you're wasting your time, buddy. Wasting your time. But all you're getting is some political theater out of it. Let's keep going here because we've got Greg Gutfeld, the destroyer of Dem narratives, on the 5. Carly Bonet posting this.
This is the strange thing. I don't care. I honestly don't care. Do you not? I bet the viewers at home feel this narrative at work. What is strange about this story? What is the strange thing about this story? The majority of Americans favor deportation of illegals, especially those who are criminals, but they favor deportation of illegal. The last, 8 days, 7 days, has been around about one person.
Yep.
One person. I don't even know his name. I don't care. I don't care. If he's here illegal, he's got to go. We are not responsible for the faulty process that allowed him to be here before. Is he a terrorist? Is he not a terrorist? I don't care. Let me give you an analogy. This will be good for you because you like sports. You walk down to your box seats. There's somebody sitting in your seat. And you go, why is this guy sitting in my seat? And they go, well, he's not supposed to be there. But you know, he's a family man. He's got a job. It's like, yeah, but that's not on me. That's my seat. Don't you have a process for having him leave that seat? Yes, we do. Can he go back to his seat? Why doesn't he go back to his seat? It's not my concern where that seat is. He's got to go. Yes, but did you know he's been trying really hard to be a good citizen? He's really quiet. He's not making. No, you don't understand. He's got to go. Now, we knew that this process wouldn't be easy.
Yeah.
It was really easy for Democrats to open the floodgates and be seen as the heroes. Look how compassionate we are. It's always going to be harder to send them back. And you're going to be treated like a villain every single step of the way, because adults fix the problems that children's cause. And sometimes the adults have to do big stuff to fix the big problems that were caused by Democrats, who are, in this case, are the children. As for this, why are they talking about this disappear fear? It's because the bat signal went up. Last week it was chaos. Now it's disappear fear. You put it on the mountain of imaginary concerns, along with paper straws, the climate apocalypse, Russian collusion, white supremacy, Musk is a Nazi. This is what I mean when you can feel the narrative. You can feel it. You go like, oh, now I understand this. This whole thing, this guy is nothing more than a tool that is being used to subvert the needs and concerns of the American public. This is...
Yeah, it's like some have said, this is George Floyd 2.0, right? Let's keep going here. We've got Sandra Smith on Fox. This almost changed overnight regarding the border. Here's Bill Malugin.
Were you surprised? But this almost changed overnight. And when you think about those images, the before images, those lasted for years under the last administration. And you're talking, and I believe it was Tom Homan who said it, he said, this happened in 5 weeks, this change at the border. Were you surprised how fast it got cleaned up?
I mean, it was overnight almost, basically. I mean, within a matter of weeks. And just think about how many times we were essentially told, don't believe your lying eyes. The border is closed. The border is secure. They said that over and over and over as we're doing live shots down there with a total free-for-all. It's just crazy to see the change now.
Let's keep going. National Border Patrol Union President Paul Perez on the Interior Department transferring land on the border to the U.S. Army. Listen to this.
Across the border.
This is a really big deal, and I want our viewers to understand why. If we can pull up call for number 1 here. It's a 60-foot stretch of federal land that goes across the southern border. Doesn't sound like anything big, right? Well, now that the feds are handing it over to control of the military's previous mission was just supporting roles like building structures, surveillance. Now that this is going to be military land, they will be able to arrest illegal aliens for trespassing on that federal land, on that military land. And that's going to be a force multiplier, because you'll have Border Patrol agents making arrests and now soldiers of the U.S. military making arrests. Just talk about how that's going to help you guys out there on the front lines.
Yeah, Bill, just like you said, in simple terms, it allows the troops that are out there to now go hands-on. And so in the past, we had to wait. They had to wait for us to get out there and go hands-on. And, these illegal aliens would cross the border and try to become gotaways. So now it allows them to detain them until we get there. So that's a game changer for us. They bring a lot of technologies such as counter-UAS, counter-drone technology that we don't have. So it also serves as a deterrent to crossings, and it gets us closer to complete operational control. It also sends a message to the cartels that this isn't the place to cross, and those days are limited.
I mean, based on what you and Bill are describing, it seems like this should have been done a long time ago.
Yeah, absolutely. President Biden had absolutely no appetite to secure the border. I mean, look at the amount of people, the millions that he let in unvetted. So this is the complete opposite. This is exactly what President Trump said he was going to do. He's fulfilling that promise, and this gets us closer to complete operational control of the border and allows us to secure America.
This is a really...
Yeah, Joe Biden said it couldn't be done. No, we need to pass a law in Congress to get it done. No, sorry. Donald Trump fixed it. The illegal immigrant gangbanger was deported to El Salvador, his home country, because he's an illegal immigrant. This from the official Rapid Response 47 Twitter account, X account of the White House. As in, he's not a U.S. citizen here illegally, not legal. Hope that clears things up, Representative Raskin. And of course, here's Raskin on his in his safe space at CNN. Looks like he's having a meltdown.
This guy and Donald Trump could not be airlifted to another country and just deported from the United States because he's a criminal convict. And this guy was never convicted of anything, has no criminal record at all. And Donald Trump could not be...
No criminal record, but he's here illegally. Here we have the New York City Mayor Eric Adams, who just recently left the Democrat Party, talking about on allowing ICE to conduct immigrant investigations at Rikers Island. And he's also on CNN.
I've been clear. And when you hear people state that we should not collaborate with our federal authorities, ICE, HSI, FBI, Postal Service, that is just wrong. Public safety is the foundation. Those who commit violent crimes after they serve their time, I've been clear from the beginning, they should be deported from our country. And I continue to stand by that. And the courts will work out the outcome of this. And
Mayor Eric Adams willing to work with President Trump. Here we have Homeland Security's official account. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is not a Maryland man. He's an MS-13 gang member involved in human trafficking who entered the United States illegally. His deportation to East El Salvador was always going to be the end result. Let's listen to this report.
Confirmed, but I think what really matters to Americans is that this MS-13 gang member, who unfortunately, Jay, you and a lot of your colleagues have called a Maryland man, when in reality
I'm going to stop you there. What is your evidence,
member.
Tricia? Wait, I got to stop you there. What's your evidence that he's in MS-13?
Well, there's actually been two separate immigration judges, Jay, who have confirmed and ruled that he is a member of MS-13.
Well,
that as well as we have intelligence
it was brought up in deportation
they sure
proceedings.
Did, Jay.
But what's the evidence that was brought up in those deportation proceedings that he's in MS-13?
And they dismissed his appeal, Jay. I can do this all day, Jay. He is a member of MS-13. I don't think you'd want to be his neighbor, Jay. I sure wouldn't. And I don't think many Americans watching would want to be this individual's neighbor. He has been involved in human trafficking. He's been involved in labor trafficking, and he should not be in this country. So whether he's in an El Salvadorian jail or a U.S. detention facility, I am so very glad, as are millions of Americans, that he is off of U.S. streets. Because remember, Jay, who is MS-13? They maim, they rape. They kill Americans for sport, and the American people are done with it. They said so on November 5th, 2024.
And as you saw there, that was ABC News carrying water for MS-13. Disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. Let's keep going here. We've got more. This is the U.S. Border Patrol Chief Mike Banks talking about the morale at the Border Patrol.
And look, I can tell you right now, the Border Patrol morale is going through the roof. We've had the handcuffs taken off. We're allowed to actually do our job, which is go out and enforce the law. Under this administration, they have literally taken the handcuffs off and allowed us to enforce law instead of policies that were created to contradict the law. And so our morale has continued to rise. I'm actually out in the field today. I was over in Rio Grande yesterday. Outstanding morale in El Paso today, visiting with the troops out here and the agents, and the morale is just through the roof.
And how's recruiting?
Recruiting's looking great. We're seeing some of our highest numbers ever. Really excited about that because, as you know, during the previous 4 years under the Biden administration, we saw a mass exodus from the Border Patrol, and we saw some of our lowest recruiting numbers. We're seeing the opposite. We're seeing agents pull retirement paperwork in order to continue staying in and serve, and we're seeing our recruiting numbers go through the roof. And from the clip you showed earlier, Dana, that I want to really drive it home. That very area that you were talking about in Eagle Pass was seeing an average of 3,000 to 4,000 a day. Right now, Eagle Pass, Texas, is seeing an average of 18 apprehensions a day and very few getaways, little to none. Some days, 0 getaways. You can't paint a better picture on the level of security we have on this border. It's making our border safer. It's making our community safer. One of the pictures you showed is a park in Eagle Pass, Texas, called Shelby Park. That park's been returned to the citizens of Eagle Pass. They can now go out there and golf. They can enjoy their park. That's been returned to the rightful owners of that park because we've been able to make it safe and secure by reducing the total number of illegal aliens running around.
Amen, man. Amen. It's happening here. Let's keep going. We've got some more to get into. Wow, so much is going on here. Fox was there as a piece of federal land known as the Roosevelt Reservation, which runs through parts of New Mexico, California, and Arizona, was officially placed under military control. Listen.
And they were
Hi, Dana. Well, first, I want to let you know, as we're getting ready to go on air, we just saw a group of what appears to be these scouters with masks on. They were waving to us. One of them even joked that he's with the FBI. Clearly, we have a camera right in front of us. So they're most likely trying to find the right opportunity right now to smuggle people across. And I'll tell you, if you ask Border Patrol agents out here, they'll probably tell you that these guys are in for a rude awakening if they try to do that, especially this new move that you just mentioned. The White House tells me that that is going to give the military the authority to detain any illegal migrants that try and cross them over, because they'll be trespassing on this military owned land now. They'll hand them over to Border Patrol agents and they'll eventually be deported. We got this exclusive access, though, as you mentioned, to Secretary of Interior Doug Burgum as he signed these documents transferring a stretch of land along the border to the military for 3 years. It's all part of the Roosevelt Reservation, which runs through parts of New Mexico, California, and Arizona. Secretary Burgum toured the New Mexico section, an area known for illegal crossings, gotaways, and smuggling activities.
And the cartels, in many cases, they've got more funding, they've got more incentives, they've got more determination to do it. I mean, we're up against a real enemy here. We need to make sure the border's secure, not just to protect the citizens from bad actors that are entering, but it's a real effective national security.
Let's keep going because it doesn't end. The party continues. Let's take a look here what Tom Homan said a few hours ago regarding this Maryland man.
And he wasn't abducted. He's an MS-13 gang member, classified as a terrorist that was removed from this country. So we got rid of a dangerous person, an El Salvadoran national, was returned to the country of El Salvador, so he's home. We removed him from the United States. He's a public safety threat. That's exactly what should have happened. And I'm just disgusted that any congressional representative is going to run to El Salvador his aid. When yesterday, I read in his state, an illegal alien charged with murder was released back into the community, and not the ICE detainer wasn't honored, and ICE had to go find him. In his state. In his state. The murder of Rachel Morin yesterday, listen to the testimony and listen to the mother on Handy last night. If you're not human, then the heart wasn't broken. It's just in his state. But rather than taking care of the constituents in his state, the victims of illegal crime in his state, he's going to run to El Salvador to protect the MS-13 terrorists. It's just disgusting. It wasn't a
unfreaking real. Unreal. Here's Angel mom Patty Morin slamming Senator Chris Van Hollen.
To ever call you? What are your thoughts on your senator going to bat for this illegal, but did he ever say anything to you and your family about your loss? To ever call you, ever take the time to be with you?
No, actually, I'm very angry. I'm actually outraged, but I'm too sad at the moment to show anger at the same time. He did not call our family. He did not give condolences. There was no action on the Democratic Party in any way, from Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Mayorkas, anyone here in Maryland, none of the senators did anything to help search for the murderer of my daughter.
It's disgraceful. So the contrast couldn't be clearer. For years, we watched illegal crossings skyrocket while officials claimed the border was under control. Now, after just 86 days, illegal crossings have plummeted. MS-13 gang members are being deported, and even New York Mayor Eric Adams admits ICE needs to be involved at Rikers Island. So what changed? Not the laws, not the threats, just the leadership and the will to enforce existing statutes. This raises a question Americans must confront, and this is for you guys in the comment section. If securing the border was this straightforward all along, why did the previous administration allow millions to pour across illegally? Was it incompetence or was it intentional? Simple. Incompetence or intentional? Those are the words you guys can drop in the comment section. But also, more importantly, how many American lives, like Rachel Morin's, were sacrificed on the altar of open border ideology while politicians pretended nothing could be done? Show your support for border security with your Next News gear. It's available in the merch shop. Link down below at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Okay, let's keep going. Dwayne Putnam has become a member. What's up, Dwayne? Welcome to the family. And if you haven't shared this via text message, please do so immediately. If you're on X, go to our X account. It's pinned to the top, this live stream. Make sure you repost this right now. So if you're going to text it to a friend through text message on your phone, just hit 1 in the chat room. And if you're going to repost it on X, hit 2. I want to make sure everyone gets acknowledged in the sharing of this feed. Very important that we do so to keep this message flowing, to bypass all the algorithms that are suppressing the content. But we got more to get into, more news, and we're not done yet. America, yesterday, the White House deployed a weapon against the nation's most vulnerable citizens. Not a conventional weapon, something far more insidious. What drove the current administration to target Americans' elderly with a calculated campaign of fear? What are they so desperate to protect that they would weaponize Social Security concerns? Of course, I kid. But tonight, we're pulling back the curtain on what may be the most cynical political manipulation in recent memory. Wow. Joe Biden terrifying grandparents across America based on claims that simply don't align with reality? What? Yes, this is breaking through, but what Joe Biden said will infuriate you. Now, speaking of aging, here's something that Biden's team doesn't want seniors to know about. A groundbreaking 2024 study revealed that the right collagen supplement can dramatically transform aging skin. Women taking daily collagen reported significantly fewer wrinkles and much firmer skin, but not all collagens created equal. That's why I recommend this scientifically backed multi-collagen formula of 5 key types from 4 different sources, specifically designed to reduce wrinkles, improve elasticity, and enhance hydration at the cellular level. Right now, viewers of the raw feed can get 51% off during this special promotion at healthwithgary.com. Take control of your aging process naturally. It's linked down below. Okay, so what happened? Joe Biden decided to climb out of his basement, and Fox News decided to cut into that speech last night, calling out his lies about Trump ending Social Security, and they did it live. Watch this.
Imagine the panic that causes. If you're a retiree living alone, with only Social Security to depend upon. So now people are overwhelming the phone lines.
President Biden in Chicago talking about Social Security there, saying the administration has dismantled Social Security. They have gotten rid of a number of employees, thousands of them in the Social Security Administration. But in that interview with Elon Musk and his Doge team, they say they're going after waste, fraud, and abuse in Social Security. And also President Trump has said that he will not touch benefits. In fact, Elon Musk pledging that benefits will be protected more by what they're doing. Obviously, Democrats and President Biden taking the opposite approach here and talking about the warnings, especially for those concerned about Social Security. These remarks, by the way, we'll have a panel discussion about more of the comments a little bit later in the show. The remarks come amid continuing questions about President Biden's mental capacity while he was serving in the Oval Office, and reports of myriad problems and ultimately the unsuccessful campaign of Kamala Harris. Senior national correspondent Aisha.
Joe Biden. Okay, let's continue. We've got the thread here. Sleepy Biden just staged a desperate propaganda attack against President Trump with blatant lies about Social Security. The deep state puppet is spreading fear among seniors to protect the globalist agenda. Spread the truth now. Biden's billionaire commerce secretary exposed, showing how the elites view your struggles. His mother-in-law wouldn't complain about missing checks because she's rich. Meanwhile, they falsely claim Trump will cut your benefits.
When he talked about the possibility of the Social Security checks not going out this month, he shrugged it off. Here's what he said. He said his 94-year-old mother-in-law wouldn't complain, wouldn't bother her. She's probably a lovely woman. No kidding. Her son-in-law is a billionaire. What about that 94-year-old mother living all by herself? Doesn't have a billionaire in the family. All the retirees who depend on that monthly check to feed themselves. All those people with disabilities have no other source. What about all those people?
Yeah, Joe Biden, man, you're already putting me to sleep. Projection alert. Biden falsely claims Trump wants $5 trillion in tax cuts for the rich, paid for by your Social Security. Classic deep state tactic. Accuse your enemy of what you're doing. The globalists are the ones robbing Social Security blind.
And keep it. Why do they want to rob it? In order to deliver huge tax cuts to billionaires and big corporations and keep it going. They want to make permanent the 2017 tax cuts, which overwhelmingly benefited the wealthiest Americans and the biggest corporations. That's going to cost $5 trillion. Where are they going to get $5 trillion to pay for it? Other than continue to run the deficit up. Well, what do they always do? By running up the national debt, number one, and then by taking the money from someplace else. What are the two big pots of money out there in raw numbers? Social Security and Medicaid. Well, from other programs people rely on and have paid into. Republicans, these guys are willing to hurt the middle class and the working class in order to deliver significant greater wealth to the already very wealthy. Who in the hell do they think they are? I really think just basic decency.
Basic decency. Yeah. They just found thousands and thousands of people who shouldn't be on Social Security receiving checks. Imagine what happens when you purge those numbers. How much money are you going to save, Joe? Biden's fear-mongering about devastating Social Security cuts is psychological warfare on our seniors. Trump has repeatedly promised to protect these benefits, but the lying media won't report it. They're creating mass panic to control.
In a way, it'd be... Imagine if you're somebody who's been struggling your whole life. You're literally counting on Social Security to buy your food.
Wow.
Just to get by.
Joe Biden will never have to worry about that, right?
Hear the threats, what may happen. Many of these beneficiaries, that's their only income. If they were cut or taken away, it'd be devastating. Devastating for millions of people. And the psychological pressure we put people under by having...
The psychological pressure that you put people under, Joe, by spreading your lies.
This debate.
Goodness.
It's absolutely devastating. But now, for the first time ever, that might change. It would be calamity.
Oh, shut up. Biden claims Social Security is a sacred promise while his administration deliberately understaffed it to create chaos. Now he blames Trump for the problems that he created.
73, and Social Security is more than a government program. It's a sacred promise. We made it a sacred promise. 73 million Americans receive Social Security.
Joe's getting angry, guys. He's getting angry. The amphetamines are kicking in.
From their first paycheck for their entire life, they pay into Social Security. And in return, they count on Social Security to be for them when they're going to need it. Folks must never, ever betray that trust or turn our backs on that obligation. That's why during my presidency, we protected Social Security and made it stronger. Martin, the governor, can tell you. We came into office, Social Security Administration had its lowest staffing, she referenced it, lowest staffing levels in 50 years. And demand was going through the roof because of my generation and the baby boom generation reaching the retirement age.
Okay, Joe. Biden invokes his staged childhood racial awakening story again, using race to divide Americans while lying about Trump cutting Social Security.
I remember pulling into the parking lot, and I'd never seen hardly any black people in Scranton at the time I was only going in the 4th grade.
Are we gonna get a corn pop cameo now?
And I remember seeing the kids going by at the time called colored kids on a bus going by. They never turned right to go to Claymont High School. I wondered why. Asked my mom, why? So in Delaware, they're not allowed to go to school, in public school, with white kids, honey. That sparked my sense of outrage as a kid, just like it does. I mean, and these young kids right here can tell you things affect them when they learn about something that's really just unfair and unjust.
Kind of like your crime bill? Biden wants seniors to not sleep at night with fear-mongering about Trump cutting benefits.
Every 5 years, then wait around and be... no. I will not go further or get in trouble, but look, folks. Can you imagine the chaos it would have charged? Every 5 years, Congress is going to step up. Imagine this Congress stepping up. They threatened to raise the retirement age as well. Now, that might not be a hardship for someone working in a comfortable job. But if you're on your feet all day, you're doing manual labor all day, you're working with a disability, it's a very different matter. And then they even tried to force cuts on Social Security during the negotiation of the debt ceiling.
Oh, man, this guy's put me to sleep, man. I don't even want to subject you guys to the rest of these clips we have here. Like, seriously, I'm not even going to do it. But we do have something that's not Joe Biden. It's Representative Ratskin. Biden claims he is 100% certain Elon Musk is coming for Social Security, but it's pure fiction from the deep state.
And we don't know. I understand where you're arguing on the facts with this. That's why I don't understand the motivation behind former President Biden coming out and saying Trump's coming for your Social Security. When they ask him about the benefit structure for any of the entitlements, he says, I'm not going to touch it. And we don't know about anything in the budget negotiation where they want to change the benefit structure. Why scare people with he's coming for your Social Security?
Well, you know, I can't say for sure about Donald Trump, but I'll tell you with 100% certainty, Elon Musk is coming for your Social Security. The guy called it the greatest Ponzi scheme in the history of the world. He clearly wants to take down Social Security. They've already sacked 7,000 workers at Social Security. It's impossible to get through on the phones. They tell you, well, just go to the offices, but they're trying to close dozens of Social Security offices around the country. So that's not made up. That's just reality. They're proud of that. So Donald Trump seems to have savvier political instincts about Social Security than Elon Musk and the right wing, which has been trying to privatize it for decades. But I'm telling you right now, and I'm willing to stand on this, your Social Security is not safe with these people in charge of the government.
It's never been safe with you in charge. Even Democrats admit Biden's message fell on deaf ears. His own party is asking, why is he speaking? Nobody believes his lies about Trump cutting Social Security. Listen.
On deaf ears. What did you think of President Biden making his witness and the message that they are coming for your Social Security?
Waste of time, fell on deaf ears. I watched about 5 minutes of it. I didn't really have much interest in it because he's no longer the president. When he was the president, there were some things that he did, like opening the borders, which were horrendous and obviously debilitating to this nation. And because of it, that accentuated the point that he needed to go. And once he saw that, the man that once promised to be a transitional president decided that he wanted to stay and ultimately had to be forced out. And so when those kind of things happen, clearly a lot of what you have to say is falling on deaf ears, particularly when all you're doing is regurgitating things that you said in the past, not just when you were president, but when you were a candidate for the presidency before you ultimately won the election in 2020. It's not to say that he's completely right or wrong. It's to simply say, unfortunately, because of the things that have transpired over the last several years, a lot of people weren't too interested in hearing from him. Think about it. Not even the Democrats themselves appeared happy that he was coming out and giving some kind of speech. Rather, there were a plethora of them asking the question, why, for what possible purpose did it serve? And certainly they're asking themselves now after seeing him speak.
What did you? Yeah, falling on deaf ears. That's exactly what happened. And let's see if there's any more on this. Biden randomly starts screaming in his first speech since leaving office.
There's hardly any. I remember pulling into the parking lot, and I had never seen hardly any black people in Scranton at the time and I was only going in the 4th grade.
Man, I want to hear the corn pop speech again. Anyway, the timing here is no accident. As Trump's popularity surges and the Biden legacy collapses, they're deploying their final weapon, fear. Scare grandma into thinking her Social Security check will vanish despite his repeated promises to protect it. Meanwhile, Biden admitted that under his own leadership, Social Security is projected to run out of money by 2033. Yet instead of solutions, he offered scapegoats. Instead of leadership, he delivered panic. This brings us to a crucial question every American needs to consider. And this is for the comments. When a government deliberately terrifies its elderly citizens with falsehoods for political gain, have they crossed the line from politics into elder abuse? And shouldn't we demand better from those who claim to serve the public? Drop a comment below. And get your next news gear in the merch shop and show where you stand against fear-mongering like that from Joe Biden. It's linked down below at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Oh, Joe Biden. Keep trying, dude. Keep trying. Lots of action in the Super Chat world, I think I can see here. Lots of folks getting memberships. Our Boyd has just gifted 5. Maureen, Andy, Gerald, Stoked, LTC also receiving one, and Villain also giving 5 memberships to Sweet Jenna, Stevo Razor, Charles Vidal, and Sassafraz, and our Brad. Not our Boyd, our Brad. All receiving memberships from Villain. Okay, let's go into our next topic. Poor Letitia James. What happens when the hunter becomes the hunted? When the prosecutor becomes the investigated? Well, tonight, we're bringing you explosive documents that could upend one of the most high-profile legal crusades in American politics. Evidence suggesting the very official leading the charge against Donald Trump may have engaged in serious financial misconduct for decades. Property records, mortgage applications, residency declarations, a paper trail that paints a disturbing picture of potential fraud at the highest levels of state law enforcement. The same woman who accused the Trump family of financial deception appears to have a skeleton in her own closet that's about to come crashing out. The hypocrisy we're going to show you will stun you. And while we're discussing legal pain, millions of Americans are dealing with physical pain every day. If you're tired of living with constant aches and discomfort like those Letitia James has inflicted on her targets, you need to hear about this remarkable turmeric discovery. A leading pain specialist found a turmeric extract that's 200 times more powerful than standard supplements, literally shutting off pain receptors at the source. Patients who were told they'd need surgery experienced complete relief within days. Don't accept a life of discomfort. Watch the free demonstration video at goldenrevive.com/NNN and discover how this formula could transform your comfort level naturally. It's linked below. Here is the front page of the New York Post, a Tish best served cold. Trump administration refers to New York Attorney General Letitia James for possible mortgage fraud prosecution. With a criminal referral sent to the DOJ on Letitia James, it's time to make sure it happens. If you think that AG Pam Bondi should ensure this is investigated to the fullest extent, drop a comment. She's tagged, she'll see it, and if James is found guilty, she needs to go to prison. Here's a flashback to Letitia James back in February. Elon Musk, individuals of the Treasury, and the President of the United States is not above the law.
Attorneys general and payments to the state of New York and to states all across this nation. It is unacceptable, unconstitutional, ultra-vires. They have exceeded their authority. And so it's important that attorneys general representing our respective states stand up and enforce the rule of law, because Elon Musk, individuals at the Treasury, and the President of these United States is not above the law.
And neither are you, honey. Letitia James is facing not one but two massive career-ending criminal accusations, falsely claiming a Virginia home is primary residence. That's mortgage fraud. Living there while serving as New York Attorney General, that's election fraud and disqualifies her from serving as AG. She is done. And we have this. Letitia James is losing her mind as reports are coming out that Donald Trump's DOJ is targeting her for criminal prosecution. Look at her insane body language as she claims that Hakeem Jeffries, as Speaker of the House, will save her.
My mission is clear. I'm focused. I'm prepared. I'm ready. I've been trained by the best. I went to Howard University that overturned legal segregation in this country. I've been taught in those classrooms where Thurgood Marshall once taught. I'm not afraid of no president. Donald Trump, we're ready for you. We're coming for you. We're standing up for you. We're fighting on. We're not going down silent. Victory, my friends, is clear. It's now. And I'm not waiting 4 years. I'm waiting 2 until a speaker by the name of Hakeem Jeffries comes to bring us some rest. Come on, ladies. It's up to us. We saved this democracy before. We'll save it now. Let's go.
Okay. You can scream and yell all you want, but that's not going to stop the DOJ investigation. So the bombshell evidence has been uncovered. The deep state prosecutor who's been hunting patriots is now caught in her own web of lies. Her massive financial fraud exposed. And let's dive deeper. The bombshell exposed. Deep state hypocrisy machine, fully operational. Letitia James, the witch hunter going after Trump, has been lying about her Brooklyn property for decades, claimed 4 units when it was 5 to steal thousands in mortgage savings. Wow. They think they're above the law.
See, for over 2 decades, Letitia James repeatedly claimed her Brooklyn apartment building was a 4-unit property on mortgage applications, despite official records proving it had 5. Now, y'all, that 1 unit, it might sound like, well, what's the big difference? Y'all are gonna see there's a big difference between a 4-unit and a 5-unit. Huge difference. This may seem a minor discrepancy, but misrepresenting the unit count enabled her to secure more favorable loans, including a 2011 Home Affordable Modification Program loan that saved her tens of thousands of dollars annually. Now, let me tell y'all why. Because anything between 1 unit and 4 units, you can get single family home type financing. It's not considered multi-unit. And the single family home financing, you're gonna typically get a better rate. 5 units and above, you're gonna get a multi-family type of financing, which will usually have a higher rate. Higher rate means you pay more interest. More interest means more money out of your pocket. HAMS, however, has strict eligibility requirements. According to its official Making Home Affordable Program handbook, eligibility is limited to owner-occupied properties with no more than 4 units. So when I said single-family home earlier, what I meant was owner-occupied, y'all, okay? So owner-occupied is up to 4 units.
But there's more. The globalist puppets now are jumping ship patriots. Letitia James signed legal documents declaring Virginia as her primary residence while serving as New York Attorney General. The smoking gun is right there in black and white. This is how they destroy our republic from within.
But of course, Letitia James does not live in Virginia. She lives in New York. So Here it says Letitia James, New York's Attorney General, has built her career on exposing deception. But a quiet real estate transaction in Norfolk, Virginia, carried out just weeks before the Trump fraud trial she championed, now raises serious questions about her own compliance with New York law. A declaration buried in legal filings states her intent to make a Virginia house her principal residence. Quote, I hereby declare that I intend to occupy this property as my principal residence. Principal residence means, that's where you're going to be living. These words appear in black and white in a specific power of attorney signed by James and filed in Norfolk on August 17, 2023. Now, many of her other fraud allegations, they go back sometimes a decade or two or several decades. This is just a couple of years ago, y'all. So, this, if true, could certainly be quite damaging on her. Here it says this signed power of attorney is a smoking gun on its own, completely separate from how the mortgage might be interpreted. It stands as a clear declaration of intent from a sitting New York Attorney General to establish principal residency in another state. Now, y'all, this is wild. Now, someone on X actually went to the property, and there was a woman outside who presumably is the other woman who was on this property with Letitia James, and he tried to speak to her. She didn't look like she was very interested in speaking to him.
And you're recording me, I'm going to record you. This is who she says that she's living. She says Letitia does not live here. She says that she is the owner. I am Ryan Davidson.
Why are you recording me?
I'm on a public street. You came outside your house. Well, I appreciate you talking to me, ma'am.
But at any rate, the property does exist. The woman who is on the document with Letitia James does apparently exist. And if this is the same Letitia James as the New York Attorney General, then you do have to wonder, like, how can you make a Virginia property your principal or primary residence if you are the Attorney General of New York and live in New York? But of course,
and we continue. They attack Trump's family while Letitia James commits actual financial crimes in plain sight. She got special loans by lying about her property for 20 years. This is a criminal elite running our justice system. Wake up. The two-tier justice system is crushing us all.
James
He did this with the help of the other defendants, his children. Donald Trump Jr., Ivanka Trump, and Eric Trump.
It all began in 2001 when Letitia James purchased a 4-story multifamily apartment building with 5 apartments in Brooklyn for $550,000. In 2005, James refinanced the building with an adjustable rate loan that started at an interest rate of 7.2% with a ceiling of 10.2%. So this is the type of loan where periodically your rate will go up or down based on the rates of the market, okay? For the next 2 decades, James took out refinancing mortgages and always listed the number of units as 4. However, the official record in the most recent certificate of occupancy, dated January 26, 2001, says the property is legally classified as a 5-family dwelling. In the world of mortgage lending, this is a critical distinction. Now, let me tell y'all why. Because anything between 1 unit and 4 units, you can get single family home type financing. It's not considered multi-unit. And
listen to her own words about fighting unconstitutional actions. The irony is astronomical.
Institutional payments and payments to the state of New York and to states all across this nation. It is unacceptable, unconstitutional, ultra-vires. They have exceeded their authority. And so it's important that attorneys general representing our respective states.
Yeah, keep going. And now we have more. Here's a news report from Sky News on this referral for criminal prosecution of Letitia James.
For possible New York Attorney General Letitia James, who was behind so much of the lawfare against Donald Trump in New York, has now being referred herself for possible prosecution over allegations of mortgage fraud. What else can you tell me about this, Josh?
Well, this is pretty brand new stuff across the transom, but it looks to me like Tish James listed the Commonwealth of Virginia, the state of Virginia, as her primary residence back when she was applying for a mortgage back in 2023. The problem is that Tish James has been the Attorney General of New York State for far longer than that there. So, I mean, square that circle for me. How can you legally get away with calling one state your primary residence, try to get a more favorable mortgage interest rate type loan, and on the other hand, you're the Attorney General of a different state there? But, you know, Rita, this is really nothing new. I mean, Democrat lawmakers, Democrat prosecutors, they play by an entirely different set of rules. I mean, Tish James, we all remember her for being front and center of the Lawfare, of the Democrat Lawfare complex, a sprawling campaign to try to deprive Donald Trump of getting his second term in office there. I think about Fani Willis as well. Fani Willis is in Atlanta, Georgia, Fulton County, Georgia. Fani Willis was on the wrong side of the law as well. So many of these Democrat prosecutors, Rita, they just flip their hands. They say, you know what? I am the lawyer here. I'm the prosecutor. Screw you. I'm going to make the rules here. You better come at me there. But you know what? The Trump DOJ is calling her bluff in this case, Tish James, because she could find herself on the wrong side of the law for good. It'll depend on which judge they draw there. But I like what I see so far. I like the aggressiveness of the administration in bringing these charges.
A bit of irony given the cases she pursued against Donald Trump, but there's got to be a reckoning for some of these activist prosecutors. I mean, she launched her whole campaign on the premise of getting Trump. She wasn't even hiding how she was going to politicize that office.
Yeah, 100%. She literally ran in 2018 for Attorney General of New York State on a platform of, I don't like Donald Trump and I am going to get him by any means necessary. There's actually kind of a clever legal analogy here. So in the Constitution, there is a prescription, there's a ban on what is called a bill of attainder. A bill of attainder goes back to the old English Star Chamber in like 7th century England. And a bill of attainder was a king's writ or a parliamentary act of legislation that would single out an individual by name, meaning it was not a general provision. It was just singling out one person for sole exclusive punishment there. So the analogy that I like to draw is that when Tish James ran for office there, she basically ran a bill of attainder political campaign. Now, that's not necessarily illegal. I mean, we have a First Amendment. You can say a lot of crazy stuff on the campaign trail. People, frankly, do it all the time there. But it's morally repulsive. It's morally repulsive there, and it says a lot about her character, frankly, or lack thereof.
Zero character. Patriots are booing her everywhere she goes. Simmer down, she demands, as crowds reject her.
First, oh, come on, we're in a house of God. First, simmer down. I want to thank Commissioner Kavanaugh and Chief Hodgins for that recognition.
You hear him chanting Trump. Here she is saying, we will seize his assets. That's what she declared about Trump, but now the tables have turned.
Mechanisms in court. If he does not have funds to pay off the judgment, then we will seek, judgment enforcement mechanisms in court, and we will ask the judge to seize his assets. If he does,
yeah, and she admitted on camera her entire campaign was about destroying Trump.
New York Attorney General. NBC News has exclusively learned that the newly elected incoming New York Attorney General plans to launch some sweeping investigations into President Trump, into his family. Letitia James tells NBC News, quote, we will use every area of the law to investigate President Trump and his business transactions and that of his family as well.
The criminal elites like Letitia James who persecute patriots while committing mortgage fraud must be exposed. We've been warning you for years. The system is rigged against us. The storm is coming for them now. So, folks, the deception goes deeper. In 2023, James reportedly signed documents declaring a property in Virginia as her primary residence while serving as New York's Attorney General. You can't legally hold that office if you live in another state. The woman who accused Trump of inflating property values for loan purposes apparently manipulated her own property details for financial gain. The woman prosecuting others for residency fraud allegedly committed it herself. The sheer audacity is breathtaking. So this forces every American to confront an uncomfortable question. And this is for you guys in the comments. If our nation's top prosecutors can allegedly commit the very crimes they prosecute others for, is there any justice left in our justice system? Or have we entered an era where political targeting determines who faces prosecution and who gets a pass? Drop a comment below and show where you stand on equal justice with our Next News gear available now in the Next News merch shop, link below at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. All right. What is going on? Villain. Am I saying it right? Villain? Dropping $5. Welcome to all new members. Join us in Discord for more N3 in the after party in the live voice chat. Get to know your fellow patriots. The family is here. I could only imagine what you guys are doing in that Discord chat. I wish I could join you, but I just don't have enough time to do so. Okay. Now we've got some more news to get to. Did you hear about this today? Yeah, this is totally wild. Totally wild. Let's see here. Okay, here it is. America, what would you say if I told you that yesterday a senior White House official casually mentioned something that sounds like it came straight from a science fiction novel? A technological capability so advanced it could transform civilization as we know it. No major network covered it. No newspaper front page featured it. Yet the implications are staggering. Well, tonight, we're going to play you the exact words from Michael Kratsios, Director of the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy, words that should have dominated every headline in America, but we were instead buried by the regime media. What if everything you thought you knew about America's technological capabilities was deliberately understated? Stay with us, because this is groundbreaking. Speaking of revolutionary technology, there's another breakthrough that deserves your attention, especially if you're concerned about your heart health like I am. A shocking 2024 study revealed that nearly half of all American adults struggle with high blood pressure, yet only 25% have it under control. Thankfully, there's a groundbreaking formula that is changing lives. This triple action supplement contains natural ingredients like white mulberry leaf and cinnamon bark powder that help regulate blood pressure, balance blood sugar, and improve cholesterol levels simultaneously. Take control of your cardiovascular health naturally and get up to 40% off today at boostwithgary.com while this special offer lasts. Okay, this is all over the web right now. Radio silence from the media. White House Office of Science and Technology Policy Director Michael Kratsios says the U.S. has technology that can manipulate time and space. Listen.
Advances, our passenger planes are slower than they used to be. Our trains crawl compared to those in other parts of the world. Our cars do not fly. Advances have not stopped, but something has gone wrong. Stagnation was a choice. We have weighed down our builders and innovators. The well-intentioned regulatory regime of the 1970s became an ever-tightening ratchet, first hampering America's ability to become a net energy exporter and then making it harder and harder to build. We seem to have lost focus and vision, to have lowered our sights and let systems and structures and bureaucracies muddle us along. But we are capable of so much more. Our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space. They leave distance annihilated, cause things to grow and improve productivity. Our passenger...
So we apparently have technology that can manipulate time and space. I mean, this is like straight out of Back to the Future, okay? I'm talking Doc Brown level technology here that the White House is sitting on. And they just casually mention it. Yeah, let's keep going. Dear United States White House, what did you mean by our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space? What's up with that? This is from the official White House website. Remarks by Director Kratsios at the Endless Frontiers Retreat. Now, I want to point out this was part of the Council on Foreign Relations. You guys know what that means. But you can see right there, highlighted below, our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space. So while this was remarks given at the Council on Foreign Relations, the White House officially published the remarks. So this is official statement from the White House. The U.S. can control time and space. Now, we're going to go down a little bit of a rabbit hole here, because I found this clip that was posted by Linda Opines. She says, I look so good in my deep, dark black belt in conspiracy theory these days. Lieutenant General Steve Quast tells us we have the technology to manipulate space, time, free energy, no need for cell phone towers, can move anything around anywhere on Earth in under an hour. Looks like he's speaking at Hillsdale College. You ready to have your mind blown?
Energy, the seed corn of all development, all growth, all survival, energy. So energy, transportation, information, and manufacturing, these are the things that change humanity, that will change world power, and they are descending upon us in ways that are very unique. The technology is on the engineering benches today, but most Americans and most in Congress have not had time to really look deeply at what's going on here. But I've had the benefit of 33 years of studying and becoming friends with these engineers and these scientists. This technology can be built today with technology that is not developmental to deliver any human being from any place on planet Earth to any other place in less than an hour. To deliver Wi-Fi from space, where you never need a cell tower to connect. To deliver energy from space, where you never have to plug your phone in and it trickle charges, and you can use that energy over time. It can be applied to cars, to houses. Energy, the seed corn of all development, all growth, all...
Think about that. But we've got more to get into, because, I mean, we have to point out that what he says here. Ashton Forbes, who's a researcher who basically blew the whistle on MH370, the plane that just disappeared. He brings up this point that, and I'm going to play the clip again, but that Kratsios casually says that we intentionally stagnated our technology in the 70s, and now we have the tech to manipulate time and space. Listen to this again, very carefully.
Our passenger planes are slower than they used to be. Our trains crawl compared to those in other parts of the world. Our cars do not fly. Advances have not stopped, but something has gone wrong. Stagnation was a choice. We have weighed down our builders and innovators. The well-intentioned regulatory regime of the 1970s became an ever-tightening ratchet, first hampering America's ability to become a net energy exporter and then making it harder and harder to build. We seem to have lost focus and vision, to have lowered our sights and let systems and structures and bureaucracies muddle us along. But we are capable of so much more. Our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space. They leave distance annihilated, cause things to grow, and improve productivity.
Our technology was specifically suppressed. Now, Ashton Forbes, we've had him on the show before. He's done incredible analysis of MH370. We're going to get into that in a moment here, because he brings up the point, because this is all over the web. He posts this about the technologies permitting us to manipulate time and space. And he says, while you're here, learn the truth about Malaysian Airlines Flight 370. We do have the technology that can manipulate time and space. They've been hiding the plasma confinement technology from the public so long it's gotten out of control. The United States controls the world with Tesla technology. And he thanks a person who wrote him a letter back in January. I want you to listen to this. This is a very amazing letter that he received about his investigation into MH370. Then we're going to go back into the Council on Foreign Relations speech that Kratsios gave. But I want you to listen to this.
Even can imagine.
This is a submission sent to us the 8th of January of 2024. It's a letter to an Ashton Forbes telling a new story of what happened to Malaysian Airlines MH370 that disappeared back in 2014. And as always, don't trust what you read on the news. Trust your own capability to see the world for what it really is. Here we go.
I work or have worked at a military base in the Maldives, and I know exactly what happened to Malaysian Airlines MH370. This is also a letter to Ashton Forbes. You are not wrong, and what you do are much bigger than you even can imagine. Don't stop what you are doing. I won't tell anything about myself more than that I currently or in the past has spent time at a military base in the Maldives. That I have done this type of work since I joined the military when I was young, and that was many decades ago. Still in the game, but the years are starting to get to me. I write this because I want the world to know that most of the trouble on Earth are created for political reasons. United States, or at least a covert administrative elite of the U.S., has, at will, complete control, and this has been true since the 60s. Flight MH370 arrived at our base, by our hand, at 1856 UTC after we picked it up, mid-air, outside the island of Great Nicobar. Just one of many, many things we do. We can pick up anything, anywhere, and deliver it in an instant, like a magic FedEx. Some facts about why it happened. MH370 had defectors on board. They were running to China with American technology. They are Chinese by blood and had gotten themselves into a situation with the Chinese regime who got them to choose to defect. The whole play, everything, and I mean everything about it, was a political play to show the Chinese who's their daddy. That's us. Some facts about how it happened. All passengers are dead, all but the handful of deflectors. The plane did not crash. The plane was on fire, we know because we started it. The plane was picked up by us, on fire, mid-air, right in front of the Chinese. The Chinese regime knows exactly what happened, and that was the whole point of the operation. Okay, this is what I want to share with you. As I said, I have been doing this for a long time. I know the technology and have been a part of hundreds of operations. So let's start with the tech. The foundation is not superconductivity. Superconductivity is a product of the technology. We have had this since the 1960s, and from that first day we have used it to make sure that no one else can have it. The big breakthrough to apply the tech as we do today came in the beginning of the 2000s with quantum computers, and by this, the paradigm for AI technology. What we had to do programmatically before, we now can do with something akin to machine intuition. This lets us operate in fast-moving environments where event-based logic in linear programming was very limited. As I said, what you have found is not the technology itself, it's just one of many derivatives of the technology. I encourage you to keep on with what you are doing, but you should also be aware that there is a deeper layer that you could focus on instead of the Miami aliens that I see you have been posting about. I will give you some pointers for this at the end of this letter. The products or application you are now working on is correctly based on superconductivity. The number of orbs you've been speculating about is correct. The fourth orb decides where the object ends up. The technology is based on structures, simple and beautiful structures that lets us use the unlimited power that is everywhere and step outside what I would like to describe as perceived reality. The structure that is used for what you are looking at is a metastructure that creates a low complexity and relative low energy phase transition. The beauty of this technology lies in its elegance and simplicity. The structures are inherently stable and self-regulating, and the earlier challenges to conduct operations were 100% based on the limits of man. With the same technology, just a slightly altered monostructure gives us an infinite power generator that without maintenance can run forever. Combine structures to a meta-product again, and you have the propulsion for a transmedium object moving faster than light. It's the definition of magic. There are endless applications, and the truth is that it would change the world in an instant. But that won't happen. I bet yourself, or at least most of your audience, have heard a version of the story that the aliens are here and they want to bless us with new, clean, and revolutionary technology, but we are a too young and rowdy civilization and would not be able to be responsible enough with the gifts from them. That's probably made up, but that is at the same time completely true. It's just not aliens saying this. It's us again. The technology is infinite in its power, and if two rivaling parties had access to it, this world wouldn't last a day. The same technology, with a combination of monostructures, makes a terrifying weapon that turns any matter into dust, and that dust turns into air. It does not matter if the object is a small bird or an aircraft carrier. It cannot be stopped. It does not miss, and when the object has been hit, the phasing cannot be stopped. Okay, so back to MH370. We knew about the deflectors as soon as they made their decision. Well before that, but then they weren't deflectors. Anyway, we knew when, how, and why back in December, and as we do, we made it into politics. We let them go. We took them back and sent the Chinese a clear message of who is in control. And we did this with a brilliantly produced show that is fit for a Hollywood production.
We create a pretend world. We are a global production company. We write the screenplay. We're the directors, the producers. We're the main actors. And the world is our stage.
Any good movie has fire, desperation, regret, and drama. And every movie villain should see their plan fall apart. And in really good movies, just when the villain has accepted that the plan has failed, the heroes of the movie steps in and makes it worse. This is what happened. As soon as we knew what plane was the last leg of their journey, we planned and delivered, so the plane was loaded up with lithium-ion batteries, built by us for this occasion. Lithium-ion batteries cannot be put out, has a predictable burn rate, and we made sure that the volume was just right for a long burn that would allow for a full-length show. The Chinese were following the plane since it was on the tarmac and got to see their most close-to-success operation go up in flames. And just as all hope was lost, we made it worse. Right in front of their eyes, 2 hours and 13 minutes in, they saw the plane get phased out of there by the same technology they were trying to get access to. And 5 days later, the Chinese officially made a gesture of submissiveness by publishing a frame from the satellite of the phase moment via the State Administration for Science. The publishing was talked about in American newspapers as a possible debris field. But when you know what you are looking at, it's clear what the frame shows. The aftermath. During the 5 days after the show, the Chinese found out about the batteries, that we both made and placed them on the plane. They accepted that we have been playing with them the whole time and at the same time could accept that the people they had convinced to deflect did what they wanted. It was us that stopped them. The deflectors had a good corrective experience when it comes to staying loyal and were back on the job as usual, but with a new understanding both of their importance and the consequences of their actions. What was nothing more than another Friday at the office for the administrative elite, 200 people had the most confusing death experience you could imagine. 1,500 people lived a tragedy, losing family members in a mystery, and 10,000s spent months searching and millions speculating for years. Then in 2014, military footage of the event got published on YouTube. Not our problem. The person responsible for the leak was identified and taken care of. Not by us, not our problem. Then came you. Hi, Ashton. Impressive. This is what I want to leave you with. There was a guest on the Joe Rogan podcast that was talking about sacred geometry and some new technology his friends had discovered on some island somewhere. He did record another episode, but it never been published. Doesn't the wording sacred geometry remind you of something? If you choose to spend time on this, which I think you should instead of maul aliens, keep in mind that your case is one product of the technology. What happens on the other island, you will understand this if you pursue it, is another more rudimentary product. What if those in combination could lead you on the right path to the actual technology? The gray-bearded man is the key, and he probably has no idea that he is. Finally, I want to say this. How do you defeat someone who can turn skyscrapers to dust, completely erase whole neighborhoods in an afternoon, and steal a burning Boeing 777 midair? Someone who, when needed, has the complete control of all media and crafts the perception of events and has most of humanity eating from its hands. After almost a full life in their service, I think I know the answer. You talk about them, and you don't stop talking.
This is a submission sent.
You don't stop talking. And that's exactly what we're doing. Check this out. Here's some more. Ashton Forbes posted this 4 hours ago when he appeared on Redacted. And that's what actually caught my attention to this whole story. I mean, the fact that this whole time and space narrative has now been presented to us from a Council on Foreign Relations speech, the White House confirming it, publishing it to their own website, is just mind-blowing. He writes, I love how blunt Clayton Morris is. It's going to pay off because we really do have teleportation tech. We are ripping the Band-Aid off. Listen to this.
10-year watches. Yes, the White House has just admitted on the record that we possess the technology to manipulate time and space. In other words, time travel, teleportation technology. Yes, the ability to transport large military craft from point A to point B nearly instantaneously. Seriously, just like what the United States did when they teleported flight MH370. Of course, we've covered that extensively here on the show. Friend of the show, Ashton Forbes, who's done remarkable work breaking this story wide open on the quantum teleportation technology. Teleporting this craft out of thin air. Watch as it just vanishes in thin air as the orbs fly right around the outside of it. And it disappears. Boom, right there, gone.
No, it's still there.
Well, we looped it back.
Oh, okay.
So I know it looks like it reappeared. But anyway, so this confirms what we've been reporting for years from whistleblowers, members of the military who've been on our show. We've spoken privately with them, also who've never been on the show, didn't want their faces on camera, who witnessed this technology in action. They worked on programs where this technology was in action.
So what is it? What's going on? So keep on going here, diving deeper into this Council on Foreign Relations speech. There was talk about dominating global AI and tech at the Endless Frontier Summit. Now, they tried to block his first executive order back in 2019, but now they are racing to catch up. Check this out. Why is Michael Krasios talking about manipulating time and space? Could this be the secret technology Trump's team has been developing? The deep state bureaucracies have been muddling our vision, but Krasios knows we're capable of more.
Space. We seem to have lost focus and vision, to have lowered our sights and let systems and structures and bureaucracies muddle us along. But we are capable of so much more. Our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space. They leave distance annihilated, cause things to grow and improve productivity. We seem to have lost focus and vision, to have lowered our sights and let systems and structures.
In 2019, President Trump signed the first executive order on AI when no one was talking about it. The globalist establishment fought it internally, but Trump had the foresight to do it anyway. Now AI is on every newspaper as our adversaries race to steal our tech.
Back to that era, and as many of you probably know, President Trump signed the first executive order ever on artificial intelligence in February of 2019. And if we kind of roll back to that era and think a little bit about that, particular signing, it wasn't something that was particularly easy internally in the building. It was something that we were very excited about, and ultimately the president signed it, and he had a lot of foresight in doing so. But the general sort of community vibe around it wasn't what it is today. And the world kind of explodes, and now AI is on the cover of every newspaper and every magazine in the world. And what we think a lot about, and what I kind of think a lot about, is how do we kind of maintain that leadership position that we had, kind of teed up when ChatGPT came out. And it's something that we know our adversaries are racing hard on. And to me, being part of that mission to ensure that the country leads in these domains is going to have such a big impact on the American way of life is something that I'm deeply passionate about and ready for round two.
But check this out. Did you guys hear this? President Donald Trump, in the Oval Office, revealed to the press the U.S. has secret weapons no one has ever heard of. Listen.
That nobody, and we're very powerful. This country is very powerful. Let me tell you, it's far more powerful than people understand. We have weaponry that nobody has any idea what it is, and it is the most powerful weapons in the world that we have. More powerful than anybody, not even close. So nobody's going to do that, but I think that if that's what you're referring to, maybe it's not. But
so whether Kratsios was speaking literally or metaphorically, the message is clear. America is entering a new era of technological dominance. The golden age of American innovation is on our horizon if we choose it. Now, that last part is crucial. This isn't inevitable. It's a choice. Do we embrace American ingenuity and leadership, or do we continue to handicap ourselves with outdated regulations while other nations race ahead? Imagine a world where distances are compressed, energy is abundant, and American manufacturing once again leads the globe. That's the vision being laid out. So here's the question that should be on everyone's mind tonight, and drop a comment on this. If our government has technologies advanced enough to manipulate the fabric of reality itself, what other breakthroughs have been kept from the American people? And what would happen if they were finally unleashed? Are we about to see it? Grab your Next News merchandise. Show your support for American innovation by going to the link in the description, shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. All right. That is super cool, man. I couldn't believe that happened today. Villain gifted a Next News Network membership, and Jim Rivas was the recipient. An 8-inch Destroyer gifted one membership, I believe, as well. Yes, one membership, and Vanessa received it. And Tony Houston dropping $2. He says, transparency, it is about time. About time and space, right? Okay, we've got more news on the horizon here. The deadly price of open borders. I'm trying to find where we're at here. Okay. Yeah, there was a surprise press conference today. Nobody knew it was going to happen. It was a last-minute thing. And then I got a message from Matt Bailey, and he was there on site, and we have an official report from him. We're going to present that in just a moment. At the White House today, a mother stood and spoke words that will haunt this nation. Words that CNN and MSNBC didn't broadcast. Words that expose the human cost of policies we've been told were compassionate and necessary. While Maryland senator was boarding a plane to El Salvador, this mother was asking a question no parent should ever have to ask. Why is an American politician fighting for the rights of foreign criminals instead of justice for murdered American daughters? Tonight, we bring you the testimony they don't want you to hear from the White House press room, the raw, unfiltered truth about what happens when political agendas take priority over American lives, and the contrast will break your heart. While our nation's borders are finally being secured, many American families still struggle with an unexpected threat, lingering cold in their homes. Just like border security requires targeted solutions, so does your home's comfort. That's why I rely on this compact mini heater that delivers instant warmth exactly where you need it. No wasted energy heating empty spaces. It provides immediate comfort without the astronomical cost of central heating. A practical solution for security-conscious Americans who prefer efficiency and control. So get yours at staywarmnow.com with 60% off during their spring clearance, plus free expedited shipping and bonus gifts. Secure your comfort today. Okay, so we're going to jump to Matt Bailey in the press room earlier today, recounting the moment that happened in the press room. Listen.
Her out, she's Matt Bailey here in the White House press briefing room, where moments ago, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt wrapped a heart-wrenching press briefing with Patty, the slain mother of 5, Rachel Morin, who was raped and killed brutally while on a jog in a park in her native Maryland. Of course, the timing of this is such that Rachel Morin's killer, a suspected MS-13 gang member, was recently convicted of the crime about 2 days ago, and today Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen hopped on a plane to El Salvador to try to retrieve what many say was the wrongly deported migrant, Mr. Abrego Garcia, and bring him back from the El Salvadorian prison he is in. The mother of Rachel Morin, Patty, with tears in her eyes, pointed out that she barely got any response from the senator during her daughter's trial, and that he cares more about bringing back an illegal alien who has no legal right to live in the United States from this prison than he did about her own daughter. Now, she went into some gruesome details she says that she just learned due to the fact that prosecutors, of course, kept the situation, the actual details of Rachel's case and the details of her murder secret due to the trial. She gave a gruesome account of the details that she learned, again, crying most of the time. It was very, very emotional and very heartfelt. And at the end of the briefing, which only lasted about 10-15 minutes, Caroline didn't take any questions. Some journalists had their hands raised, but she chose not to call on them. She wanted to take questions only for Patty and only about that situation. And as Caroline left the podium and as Patty followed her out, she stopped on the corner of the platform and admonished the media to tell the truth about illegal migrants and the deportations. And she said, why is it a political issue? Brought up the point, why is it a political issue caring about the safety of our citizens and the harm that certain illegal undocumented migrants pose to those legal residents and American citizens here in D.C., Maryland, Virginia, and of course across the country. We will be monitoring the Abrego Garcia situation. Of course, we have a judge that says that the administration willfully disobeyed orders. We have the Supreme Court saying that the federal judges may not have jurisdiction to instruct the administration on matters of foreign policy, but at the same time, the administration should facilitate the return. This is something that the New York Times called, quote, nuanced, and a nuanced decision by the Supreme Court. And of course it was a very nuanced decision, and this is a very nuanced situation. The gentleman, Mr. Abrego Garcia, alleged to be an MS-13 gang member from the very first time he was caught and found to be living in the country illegally. Not something that, as Caroline Leavitt said, it was not something that was disputed. They said that when he was deported this time to El Salvador, he was found wearing a shirt with symbols of the MS-13 gang on. Of course, not things that I'm able to verify directly or that we're able to verify, but we will dig in and try to find out if that is true. He had a withholding order to prevent his deportation back to El Salvador, but of course, it went through immigration courts, and the Trump administration now feels that even though they told the Justice Department, or the Justice Department told the courts that it was an administrative error,
they now feel that it was a correct decision to deport Mr. Abrego Garcia, so that situations in cases like Miss Rachel Morin's situation does not happen again. Caroline Leavitt on the Abrego Garcia front saying that his wife had taken out not one but two protective orders against him. So we're going to have to see how this plays out and whether or not he will come back into the country. But Caroline Leavitt was very, very clear. Abrego Garcia will not live in the United States of America again, and she highlighted the Rachel Morin case as a case in point for this administration's goal to rid the United States of criminal illegal aliens. In Washington for Next News Network with Gary Franchi, in Chicago at Next News Network headquarters, I'm Matt Bailey at the White House. Matt Bailey.
Thank you for that, Matt. And of course, the symbols he's referring to are symbols of the Chicago Bulls. That is a symbol that MS-13 has chosen. I believe it's MS-13 has chosen to represent their gang. Okay, so we're going to jump into some of the clips from that press conference, the heart-wrenching press conference. Our first one here from Margot Martin. This is probably going to be one of the highlights of my life, being able to be a part of a prayer meeting at the White House. Before she took the podium, she shared words of wisdom and prayer with the White House press team. Listen.
I have to say that this is probably going to be one of the highlights of my life, being able to be a part of a prayer meeting at the White House. Because there's no greater God than the one that we serve. And because there's no greater God, he has a purpose and a plan for all of us being here this moment in time. And even the death that happened to Rachel is part of his purpose. And so I just want to pray that God would take and he would speak to the hearts of every man, woman, and child that hears the words that come out of our mouth, and that the truth would ring true in their hearts, God. That you would take and you would push back the enemy, cause confusion in their camp, God, and that you would raise up your standard, and that you would be exalted and magnified and glorified. Fill us with your Holy Spirit, God, so that the words that we speak come from you and flow out of us, through us, to the people, and that the words that we say are the words that you want to speak to them. Just anoint us, give us the unction, and be magnified and glorified. And thank you, God, for this opportunity. And thank you, God, for these people that are so devoted to you and to truth. And we ask this all, Father, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Beautiful. Thank you. You ready?
Welcome. Yes, ma'am.
Let's do it. Girl power. Mom power.
I have to say that this is probably...
Wow. So that's how it began. And here is the press secretary laying out the facts.
Still refuse. Today we have officially learned Democrat officials still refuse to accept the will of the American people. Maryland Democrat Senator Chris Van Hollen rushed to Dulles Airport this morning to fly to El Salvador, potentially using taxpayer dollars to demand the release of deported illegal alien MS-13 terrorist. The Democrats and the media in this room have continually and wrongly labeled Kilmar Abrego Garcia as a Maryland father. There is no Maryland father. Let me reiterate. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is an illegal alien, MS-13 gang member and foreign terrorist who was deported back to his home country. And when Kilmar Abrego Garcia was originally arrested, he was wearing a sweatshirt with rolls of money covering the ears, mouth, and eyes of presidents on various currency denominations. This is a known MS-13 gang symbol of hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil. Abrego Garcia was also arrested with two other well-known members of the vicious MS-13 gang. And two separate judges found that Abrego Garcia was a member of MS-13, and that finding has never been disputed. And just this morning, it was revealed through Maryland court documents that Abrego Garcia's wife petitioned for an order of protection against him for 2 instances of domestic violence in May of 2021. And here is the order right here. The court ordered that the respondent committed the following acts of abuse. Once in May of 2021, assault in any degree. And on May 4th of 2021, he punched and scratched his wife, ripped off her shirt, and grabbed and bruised her. This is from a court in Maryland. So not only are Democrats rushing to defend an illegal criminal foreign terrorist gang member, but also an apparent woman beater. To set all of that aside, the basic fact that he was illegally inside our country and had a lawful deportation order made him subject to removal back to his home country of El Salvador. And if he ever ends up back in the United States, he would immediately be deported again. Nothing will change the fact that Abrego Garcia will never be a Maryland father. He will never live in the United States of America again. And the United States Supreme Court ruled unanimously that the President of the United States and the Secretary of State could not be compelled to forcibly retrieve this citizen of El Salvador who is currently locked up in a maximum security prison in his home country due to his MS-13 membership. Today we...
Wow. There's more from the press secretary calling it appalling and sad what that senator did today.
Are incapable. It's appalling and sad that Senator Van Hollen and the Democrats applauding his trip to El Salvador today are incapable of having any shred of common sense or empathy for their own constituents and our citizens. Nobody knows this more than the woman standing to my right, Patty Morin, whose beautiful daughter Rachel was brutally maimed and murdered at the hands of an illegal alien in August of 2023. Patty no longer has her daughter because of the failed Democrat Party's open border, and these are policies that President Trump is bringing an end to. Patty should not have to be here today, but she is, and we are grateful and we are honored for her willingness and her request to share her powerful story with the world. Thank you, Patty, for being here.
Here she is, in her own words, Patty Morin.
Even acknowledge to have a senator from Maryland who didn't even acknowledge or barely acknowledge my daughter and the brutal death that she endured, leaving her 5 children without a mother and now a grandbaby without a grandmother, so that he can use my taxpayer money to fly to El Salvador to bring back someone that's not even an American citizen. Why does that person have more right than I do, or my daughter, or my grandchildren? I don't understand this.
Oh my. Let's keep going here. Here she is. This is the moment that Matt Bailey was referring to when she admonished the press.
Please tell the truth. Exactly. Tell the truth. Yeah. Tell how violent it really is. This is about protecting our children. It's more than just politics or votes or just anything. It's about national security, protecting Americans, protecting our children. Thank you. And thank you for listening. Please tell the truth.
It's shameful that CNN and MSNBC refuses to take Angel Mom Patty Morin as she recounts her tragedy. They refuse to take the video. Unbelievable. Here, she has more, her emotional testimony at the White House today.
Even a lot of you don't know the whole story about Rachel and about the crime that was committed against her. Even us, her family, we didn't know all the details. They kept most of it close to their chest, the detectives, because they didn't want to do anything to hurt the case. They wanted to keep the integrity of the case, so they kept everything close.
I sat for the last 2 weeks in her trial, and we saw layer upon layer upon layer of evidence against the accused, an illegal immigrant from El Salvador. And the things that we thought, well, maybe this might have happened, we didn't know. But when we were at the trial, we got all the puzzle pieces. And I want to share some of those things with you. You know that Rachel's a 37-year-old mother. She has 5 children. We've walked the trail for the last 25 years that we've lived in Maryland. It's a safe place for our family. It's where we go to get a little bit of New England, because that's where we're from, New England. When she went on that trail that day, she was not planning on dying. She wasn't planning on walking to her death. She was planning on going to the grocery store with her girls afterwards. Victor Martinez, he waited for her. He waited for her to come closer. He saw her. He saw that there was nobody around. He attacked her. He dragged her 150 feet, blood gushing from her head. It left a 150-foot trail of her blood to the culverts, where he picked her up, he threw her against the wall of the tunnel, and he raped her. But before he did that, he stopped on that trail, and rocks, still stained with her blood, he used them to hammer her head against those rocks. They say at least 20 times they could count the cuts in her head. They said that when they did the autopsy, and I've seen the pictures, there's a 6-inch square in the back of her head where the skull is shattered the way that you would crush an eggshell in pieces. 3/4 of her brain hemorrhaged. Her right and left side of her face bashed in. Her beautiful face bashed in. Her head bashed in. Broken bones, fractures. He takes and he drags her some more. He drags her through the thorn bushes. She has all the scrapes and cuts on her body. There wasn't 1 inch of her body that didn't have some kind of injury, whether it's bruising, broken bones, contusions, the scratches. She had a fractured rib, fractured nose, fractured skull. And then he takes her into the tunnel and he picks her up. He throws her against the wall. Blood is gushing from her head. Her hair is soaked in blood. And they showed us pictures of her body against the wall, outlined. The blood outlined her body. And you could see where the blood ran down around her as he was raping her. And then he threw her down and raped her some more. And then he strangled her because he didn't want her to be able to live to tell the story. They said that when they did the autopsy on her neck, that one of the things they do is they open up the neck and they look to see how far the injury is. And they went all the way down as far as an injury is possible, hemorrhaging in the muscles because of how strong and violent the grip was around her. These are the kind of people that have no compulsion. Like, to them, this is nothing. And when he was sitting in the courtroom, he actually looked like he thought he was going to be set free. There was no remorse on his face at all. This person took my daughter so violently and so gruesomely and so graphically that they sealed the pictures, because I don't want my granddaughters to see these pictures. These are the kind of criminals President Trump wants to remove from our country. These are the kind of criminals that we need to remove from our country. We are American citizens. Why should we allow people like this, violent criminals that have no conscience at all, to murder our mothers, our sisters, our daughters. I don't understand why there's even any kind of problem with this. And it's not that it's political, like the left or the right, although I understand different parties have used it in the past. But we have to look at it as we are American citizens. We need to protect our families, our borders, our children. I don't care about politics. Well, I do, but I want to preserve life. And that's the only reason why I have taken and spoken about Rachel all this time.
The left-leaning media refused to tell her story. Let's hope that changes after her mother detailed her gruesome murder you just heard. Media ignores Maryland mom of 5 murder case. Maryland mom killed by illegal criminal. MS-13 gang member. Maryland dad. 64 minutes of coverage. 0 coverage by NBC, ABC, and CBS. Let that sink in. So the contrast couldn't be more stark. While angel moms like Patty Morin struggle to get basic media coverage, CNN and MSNBC refuse to air her heartbreaking testimony. Meanwhile, politicians who claim compassion are rushing to defend foreign gang members rather than American victims. Even the White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt couldn't contain her outrage. It's appalling that Senator Van Hollen and Democrats are incapable of having any shred of common sense or empathy for their own constituents. So this forces us to confront a fundamental question. Let's talk about it in the comments. In a functioning republic, shouldn't the safety of American citizens take absolute priority over the rights of foreign criminals who entered our country illegally? If our elected officials choose the latter over the former, can they truly claim to represent the American people at all? And show your support for real news at the merch shop, shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Disgusting. Disgusting, man. Oh, man. I don't even know what to say. No coverage by the media at all. Let's take a look at the super chats. Let's see. Villain says, hype for Discord tonight. See you there. I might play a movie on mute, maybe Back to the Future, or taking request. Vote in the live voice chat. Juan Ruiz dropping $2. Thank you for that. Trump MAGA for life. Sharon Johnson dropping $2. Thank you, Sharon, for that. And Villain again dropping $5. Thank you. Become a member in Discord. Get in where you fit in. The movement is mobile. Express your thoughts and open your community door to the N3 family. Thank you. We got 20 new members who now can join that. And $37.99 in Super Chat. Maybe we'll hit 50 tonight. Who knows? That last story, though. Okay. Brian, let's move on to our next topic of the evening. What if I told you that billions of your tax dollars, money taken from your paycheck, simply vanished? That despite record spending on homelessness, people are still dying on American streets while the money meant to help them is nowhere to be found. Well, tonight we're exposing a financial black hole so massive that even the FBI and the IRS have been called in to investigate. But that's only the beginning. What if the government dysfunction that you have witnessed your entire life wasn't incompetence at all, but a deliberate business model? What if the inefficiency wasn't a bug, but a feature? Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency has uncovered something that will shatter your assumptions forever. We have the details. And just like government wastes your tax dollars, power companies are gouging American families with skyrocketing energy bills. Studies show electricity costs have surged up to 60% in just 2 years, a hidden tax on every household in America. That's why thousands of Americans are fighting back with this revolutionary device. It stabilizes electrical flow, reduces dirty electricity, and helps slash your monthly bills by optimizing your home's power usage. Unlike government waste, this is one investment that actually pays for itself. So go to don'twastepower.com for 65% off and start beating the power companies at their own game. You'll find it linked in the description. Okay. I love covering Doge because there's so much happening that you won't see on the mainstream media, and we have to bring it to your attention. I mean, if you simply just go to the Department of Government Efficiency's own X account, like they're so transparent. They're presenting all the information. I mean, look at this. From April 8th, since January 20th, the U.S. GSA has been working to right the size of federal real estate portfolio, which is liable for more than $20+ billion in deferred maintenance. So far, the team has sold 13 buildings and listed an additional 68. That's 8.3 million square feet. Here's one building. As an example, the U.S. GSA sold a vacant building in Ogden, Utah for $3.6 million, also saving $20 million in deferred maintenance in the city of Ogden. The city is partnering with a private developer to provide the necessary improvements in order to make the asset useful. This building sitting on the books forever, just falling into disrepair, finally identified and sold off. Whistleblowers calling Doge to investigate and pursue the closure of an entire EEOC. The EEOC is useless and never pursues any cases for victims of discrimination or retaliation. What stupidness is this? More and more workplace discrimination cases are being closed. Freedom Chick posting, open the books on what they've been doing. Corrupt state government drives a lot of corruption in D.C. Marylanders are fed up with a one-party state. A sanctuary state wanting criminal illegal immigrants back in the state is only the tip of the iceberg. Now, check this out. What Doge has uncovered here. Credit card update just 22 hours ago. The program to audit unused, unneeded credit cards has been expanded to 30 agencies. After 7 weeks, 470,000 cards have been deactivated. As a reminder, at the start of the audit, there were 4.6 million active cards and accounts and still more work to do. Here are the receipts. I know it's hard to read, but there it is. This represents about 10.2% of the total cards deactivated so far, indicating significant progress. What are those cards doing? In the last 2 days, agencies terminated 108 wasteful contracts with a ceiling value of $205 million, a savings of $70 million, including 14,000 HHS contract for an executive transformational leadership training program, and $5.2 million contract to provide strategic advisory and assistance to improve and transform current process and organizational systems. What the hell does that even mean? All I can tell you is that is more savings. Lindell TV posting this, a Doge moment, 4.6 billion in furniture, 2 million in Social Security, 2 million plus Social Security numbers for non-citizens. Since 2021, agencies spent 4.6 billion on furniture while employees worked remotely, 700,000 for a single SEC conference room. The CDC bought solar-powered picnic tables and nobody used them. Elon Musk saying this, what we're doing to help their benefits legitimate people as a result of the work of Doge will receive more Social Security, not less. If you recall, Joe Biden last night took to the microphone and tried to scare every Social Security recipient. It's not the case. Listen.
So I'll say the two improvements that we're trying to make to Social Security are helping people that legitimately get benefits, protecting them from fraud that they experience every day on a routine basis, and also make the experience better. And I'll give you one example is at Social Security, one of the first things we learned is that they get phone calls every day of people trying to change direct deposit information. So when you want to change your bank account, you can call Social Security. We learned 40% of the phone calls that they get are from fraudsters.
40%?
That's right. Almost half.
Yes, and they steal people's Social Security is what happens. Is they call in, they say they claim to be a retiree, then they convince the Social Security person on the phone to change where the money's flowing. It actually goes to some fraudster. This is happening all day, every day. And then somebody doesn't receive their Social Security. It's because of all the fraud loopholes in the Social Security system.
How do you reassure people that what you all are doing is not going to affect their benefits?
No, in fact, what we're doing will help their benefits. Legitimate people, as a result of the work of Doge, will receive more Social Security, not less. I want to emphasize that. As a result of the work of Doge, legitimate recipients of Social Security will receive more money, not less money.
All right.
I want to emphasize that point and let the record show that I said this, and it will be proven out to be true.
I'll say.
Yeah, despite what Joe Biden is telling the American people. Let's keep going. Here's a massive bombshell that just dropped. Doge exposing a massive cover-up. Biden and the Democrats have been quietly handing out Social Security numbers to illegal asylum seekers 5 months after crossing the border. No interviews and no questions asked. The Democrats turned Social Security into a criminal enterprise, says Kyle Becker. What I found was a legitimate program that was abused. In every benefit program, 1.3 million migrants on Medicaid. Doge volunteer Antonio Gracias explains the racket.
Ran to it. 1.3 million of them are on Medicaid right now. And we looked at voter rolls and we found that thousands of them are registered to vote in a handful of states. I mean, it is shockingly bad. And this is the tip of the iceberg, guys. We mapped the system from enumeration, so I get your number, all the way to the end, went to the offices and saw how the offices operate. And in that process, one of our engineers found this data called enumeration beyond entry. It had this giant ramp to it. And that just jumped out at us. And we're like, what's that? And so we dug into it. What happened was this program was designed for people that we want to let in, like the CARE program, which is the Afghans. They would be in this number. What jumped out at us wasn't that this is here because it has legitimate use. It's the growth. Why did it grow this fast? That's what we dug into. What we find here is that a legitimate program was, the word I'll use, abused. So they allowed people that were illegals at the border to come in legally. They were giving people at times notices to appear. And what that allows you to do is come in the country and then you schedule a court date, which is like 6 years out. 6 years out is the average, by the way. It could be longer than that. And while you're waiting for your court date, you could fill out an asylum application. Once the application's in, you can file another form, 765, to get a work authorization. Once you get that, you get a 766, and we automatically send you a Social Security card in the mail. No interview at all. That is the majority of the growth you see in these numbers. We found that every benefit program we looked at was being accessed by these people. 1.3 million of them are on Medicaid right now, today. And by the way, it's just ramping, it's just starting. And we looked at voter rolls and we found that thousands of them were registered to vote in a handful of states. And then we went even further with those friendly states and found that many of those people had actually voted. It was shocking to us. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't have believed it. And this is the tip of the iceberg. 1.3.
The tip of the iceberg, folks. This is only the beginning. Wow. Okay, let's keep going here. Did you hear about this? On the IRS website, the login button was not at the top right on the nav bar like it is on most websites. It was weirdly placed in the middle of the page below the fold. An IRS engineer explained the soonest this change could be deployed is July 21st, 103 days from now. This engineer worked with the Doge team to delete the red tape and accomplish the task in 71 minutes before and after pictures. There are great people at the IRS who are simply being strangled by bureaucracy. Okay? Sign into your account. That is where the original button was, and now they moved it to the upper right. Login. Sign in. 100 days to fix that. Sorry. We're finding this out. California, New York, Massachusetts accounted for most of these improper claims. $305 million in unemployment benefits. Additionally, California accounted for 68% of the unemployment benefits paid to parolees identified by the CBP on the terrorist watch list. Initial survey of unemployment insurance claims since 2020 revealed that 24.5 thousand people over 115 years old claimed $59 million in benefits. 28,000 people between 1 and 5 claimed $254 million in benefits. 9,700 people with birth dates over 15 years in the future claimed $69 million in benefits. In one case, someone with a birthday in 2154 claimed $41,000. That's how crazy this whole thing is. Here is Andrei Karpathy. He's on Elon's management, talking about Elon's management style. If you have a big person who's also really smart and has a big hammer, things move quickly.
That way, Elon is a very efficient warrior in the fight against entropy in organizations. He hates meetings. He keeps telling people to skip meetings if they're not useful. He basically runs the world's biggest startups, I would say. Tesla actually is multiple startups. I think it's better to look at it that way. And yeah, he's a very good intuition for streamlining processes, making everything efficient. Best part is no part, simplifying, focusing, and just kind of removing barriers, moving very quickly, making big moves. All of this is very startup-y sort of seeming things, but at scale. I do think he needs someone in a powerful position with a big hammer like Elon, who's like the cheerleader for that idea and ruthlessly pursues it. If no one has a big enough hammer, everything turns into committees, democracy within the company, process, talking to stakeholders, decision-making, just everything just crumbles. If you have a big person who's also really smart and has a big hammer, things move quickly.
And that's what we're seeing with Doge. Here's a contract update. Agencies terminated 180 wasteful contracts with a ceiling value of $3.3 billion, savings of $2.6 billion, including $85,000 EPA contract for live plant maintenance services. The internal EPA team will water them going forward. $85,000 to water plants. I mean, couldn't just the secretary just water the plant that day in each little corner of the building? Well, that's what it's going to be like moving forward. And a $265,000 HHS contract for social media monitoring, subscription training, and platform setup. $265,000 to help people sign up for social media. Here is Greg Gutfeld going to town on that IRS sign-in button. Let's listen.
There's more efforts. To the monologue. This week, Doge perfectly exposed government bureaucracy in a nutshell. While working on the IRS website, Doge noticed the site's login button wasn't in the top right, like most websites. It's a small thing, but Doge noted it was weirdly placed in the middle of the page. So Doge wanted to move it to the right spot. But an IRS engineer said the soonest they could do that was July 21st, over 100 days from now. So what did Doge do? They stepped in and fixed it in 70 minutes. Here's how it looks now. See, there it is. They moved it from the middle to the top. It's a small thing, yeah, but the government would have needed 100 days to do it. To go from there to there. So imagine how long it takes for them to do stuff that actually requires more effort. This is how the government works. Hey, Steve, can we change the website a little? No problem, Joe. I'll have to submit a work order for that, which requires approval from the boss, and then we'll circle back at the monthly meeting for the next round of approvals. Then we'll hire a contractor to hire a subcontractor that will hire a teenager to make the change. Total cost to John Q. taxpayer, $60 billion. But hyperventilated. But when it's no longer on the taxpayer's dime, it gets done in minutes. See, this is why you need Elon and Doge. A government website shouldn't be harder than translating Jasmine Crockett into English. And this week, Doge uncovered millions of taxpayer dollars of unemployment insurance claims for people who haven't been born yet, over the age of 115, and even between the ages of 1 and 5.
Oh, my goodness, man. Here we have more. Great work by the Department of Veterans Affairs canceling an unreasonably priced multi-year $15.3 million service contract for salary survey data and analysis. The service was replaced at market price of $5,000 a year versus the contracted $3.9 million a year, saving $11.1 million over the life of the contract. And here we have on the FBI and IRS joining the investigation into the missing $24 billion from California's homeless funding.
Last year, Republican MAGA-aligned United States Attorney here in Los Angeles, Bill Asaley, he just launched a federal probe investigating exactly where California's homeless dollars are going. The FBI and IRS are going to assist. Asaley estimates $24 billion in homeless funding statewide over the past 5 years, much of that spent here in Southern California.
We will get to the bottom of it, and if we find that any federal laws are violated, we will arrest and prosecute those individuals involved.
Governor Gavin Newsom and the chair of the L.A. County Supervisors tell Fox they welcome Asaley's investigation. However, L.A. Mayor Karen Bass, who says homeless numbers dropped by 10% last year, she says she doesn't want the investigation to be, quote, a fishing expedition. Republican.
Okay, so the efficiency contrast is damning. When Doge engineers wanted to move a login button on the IRS website, contractors claimed it would take over 100 days. Elon's team did it in 70 minutes. Not days, minutes. This reveals the fundamental lie at the heart of bureaucratic government, that inefficiency is inevitable rather than cultivated. The waste isn't a bug, it is a feature. The delays aren't accidents, as they are the business model. This forces every American to ask and drop a comment on this. If moving a button takes 100 days, 70 minutes in real time, how many other impossible problems could be solved immediately with proper leadership? And more importantly, how many billions of your tax dollars are being deliberately wasted to feed this corrupt system? And show your support for the Doge team by going to our merch shop and joining the MAGA Avengers featuring Elon Musk at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Wow. Okay, folks, where are we at today? Right now, let's check in with the main chat and find out what is happening in the real news. Okay, let's go to the big chat. And what are you guys talking about right there? Let's see. President Trump has canceled all orders from China, and that country is in panic. Good. Okay, what's up, Judy? Watching from Kentucky. A Sudanese paramilitary group says it's forming a rival government 20 seconds ago from the Washington Times. Insurrection Barbie posting this meme. These are the people calling you domestic terrorists. MS-13 and Democrats clinging to each other and pointing fingers at the Trump administration. Jack Posobiec, an hour ago, incredible Hegseth's advisors stop an attack that would have escalated in World War III and suddenly get escorted out of the building. What's going on? Tulsi Gabbard, Pete Hegseth, J.D. Vance, and Susie Wiles helped shut down an Israel-USA joint attack on Iran. Holy cow. Wow. Gateway Pundit posting this a minute ago. CNN's Brian Stelter defends PBS and NPR claims they're simply covering the news. No, they're not. They're indoctrinating your children. Robbie Starbuck, 2 hours ago, the Tennessee Star just broke a huge story. The illegal immigrant that Democrats are trying to free from the El Salvador prison. When 2022, he was stopped driving without a license, and Tennessee Highway Patrol suspected him of trafficking the 7 people inside. The THP then learned he was on a terrorist watch list. What? So they called Biden's FBI, but Biden's FBI told THP to release him. Kilmar Abrego Garcia was then released due to the Biden FBI order, and the THP concerns about trafficking were ignored by the government. This is on top of a court plus Maryland police finding they believe he was an MS-13 and his wife reporting that he beat her when filing for a protective order. This is who Democrats want in our country, and this is who they're fighting for. Tennessee Star posting this. Tom Pappert. Unbelievable. He wrote that, broke that story. That's who the Democrats are defending. Wow. Democrats love defending criminals. The Maryland police report is incredible. Democrats lied, the lawyers lied, the media lied. Abrego Garcia was MS-13 all alone. Okay. Got more work ahead of me after the show. So there it is, America. The truth they can't contain. The reality they can't suppress. The awakening they can't stop. Tonight we've pulled back the curtain on a nation in the midst of historic transformation. Not the sanitized version they feed you on the corporate networks, the raw, unfiltered reality of America's resurrection. We watched as Gavin Newsom filed desperate lawsuits against tariffs that are already bringing manufacturing jobs roaring back to American soil. $21 billion in revenue already flowing into our treasury instead of Beijing's coffers. We witnessed the border security revolution that happened literally overnight, not with meaningless press conferences, but with real action. Border Patrol unleashed, military deployed, national security prioritized over globalist agendas. We exposed Biden's shameless propaganda operation targeting America's most vulnerable seniors with fear tactics straight out of the communist playbook. We revealed how the woman prosecuting Trump may have been committing mortgage fraud for decades. A textbook case of projection that exposes the rot at the heart of our justice system. We heard the White House casually admit to technologies that can manipulate time and space, a revelation that should have dominated every headline, but was ignored by the regime media. We brought you the testimony of the angel mom, Patty Morin, that CNN and MSNBC refused to air. The human cost of open border policies that Democrats and their media allies want hidden from your view. And we showed you how Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency exposed not just billions in waste, but a fundamental lie about how government functions. America, this broadcast exists because of you. While the corporate media empire serves its masters, we answer only to truth and to you, the American people. If what you've seen tonight matters, if you believe these stories deserve to be told, then I'm asking you directly, support this mission. The links to donate are below. Whether it's $5 or $500, every contribution keeps these cameras rolling and these truths flowing. To everyone who sent in super chats and rumble rants tonight, we see you and we hear you. You are part of this movement. And for those asking about our merch, check it out. It's live at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Claim yours before they are gone. The truth is they want us silent. They want us divided. They want us blind. But we refuse. This is Gary Franchi. From all of us at the Raw Feed, stay vigilant, stay free, and remember, the truth doesn't fear investigation. And we'll see you tomorrow, America.